with me is Graham, and Graham, this is a Model T.
Yes.
And the thing about this is it's what, well, some call a mother-in-law car.
Yes.
Can you explain how the mother-in-law fits?
Yes, well, when the hood is up, the bride and the groom sit in the front and the mother-in-law sits outside on the back.
So mother-in-law's got to come to sort of supervise the
She
honeymoon?
comes to supervise.
Or
Yes.
chaperone, or both.
Yes.
So we've seen a few Model Ts in our travel, but what intrigues me is how you drive the things.
Yes.
They're like nothing that's
Nothing is like it.
nothing
Yeah.
is like it. So this is really when the cars were invented, and this is the drivetrain that was sort of came with it at the time. I know everything's different from these days with the with the clutch and the sticks and then we go to automatics, and then all sorts of other ways to make the engine connect with a gearbox and through to the diff. But these, absolutely unique. So would you mind showing me how it all works?
Do you want me to hop in?
Yeah, we'll jump in and have a look.
This
Graham.
is the accelerator up here,
Yep.
and that's spark retardant advance, which you don't need in any car today, but you did then.
So I think just about everything had a spark and retard.
Yes, in early days.
And so you start it and then you just adjust it.
Then you can adjust that, yes.
And once you're happy with it, you leave.
Well, when you go up a hill, you can adjust it to give you more grunt to go up the hill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is the accelerator?
That's the accelerator.
So there's no floor accelerator?
No floor accelerator. I can drive with my feet outside.
I suppose that's handy in some situations, isn't it?
Yeah, true.
Because I remember going up the deviation in an old, truck with a running board, and if you could had one of these, you could sort of stand outside.
Stand on the outside, yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just hang on to the steering wheel
Yeah.
and enjoy some fresh air.
Yes, yeah.
Not so hot. So there's 3 pedals on the floor there. So
That's right.
maybe just walk me through those.
Okay. This one where the clutch was, when you got it at halfway, there's nothing. You put your foot hard down and it's first gear.
Yep.
Take it off
Yep.
and it's second gear.
Okay. So when you've got it going,
Yes.
where's neutral?
Neutral is halfway.
Oh, okay. So once
Right.
you've got it going, you have to have your foot on this.
No,
halfway.
not at all. No.
No? Oh,
no,
okay.
No. And if you pull the brake on hard, it
Yep.
puts it in neutral as well.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yep.
The centre one is for reverse. Right.
So if I want to go backwards,
Just push that one. Yes.
so you have to have this one half in?
No,
then?
just leave it where it is and just
Okay.
have the centre one then.
And
Yeah.
back you go.
And of course the right one is the brake. Some people will use the reverse pedal for a brake as well. I do sometimes. Yeah.
So that just
Just
you're going
tightens
forward,
some
and that
bands.
just slows you down.
Yes. Yeah.
That's interesting. What was I thinking about? Oh, I know. With an automatic 4-wheel drive, and you're going down a very steep, slippery hill,
Yes.
in order to slow yourself down, you actually stick it in reverse, and so the wheels are going backwards
yeah.
while you're going downhill,
Yeah.
and that slows you up as well.
Yeah.
That's just interesting.
Yeah.
And so the bands are in a gearbox arrangement under
Yes,
here.
everything's under here. So motor and gearbox have the same oil.
Oh, okay.
It's one bed for the lot.
Oh, wow. And this little box?
That little box normally has 4 coils in it, one for each cylinder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This one's been changed and they put a distributor on it.
Right. Okay, and there's a little screwy button there.
That's to adjust the petrol. Yeah.
How much is going in?
Yeah. I presume I don't touch it.
No.
I leave it alone
Sure.
because it works. Yeah.
Yeah. And they've got a gear lever looking.
There is a 2-speed differential.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So forward,
So
high, back low, or something.
When
like
they come, none of them have had this. It was probably the only extra that Henry Ford allowed was a 2-speed diff. It's a Ruxel diff.
coming forward with Henry Ford, he had in his trucks, what was it called? It was a 2-speed diff arrangement at the back. They had a Thornton drive. It might not have been Henry Ford that did that, but it was called a Thornton drive. It had a lever like that,
Yes,
and it operated a 2-speed.
The trucks did have a bigger one. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. And so what else have we got in here that makes it do anything apart from the steering wheel?
Not a lot, but of course the starters at our feet. There.
Oh, really? It looked like a dipstick?
Yeah, that one there.
Yep. So in order to start, like you just jump in, you want to start it, you don't have a key.
This is the key there. Doesn't have a key, it just turn the switch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that arm's all easy.
So that when you want to, you can take that, there's your key,
Oh, okay.
if you can call it that, but without that it won't work. Yeah.
Right. So push that in, push that over.
And then it'll
Put your,
work.
your heel on the little dip switch there.
Do you want me to start it?
Yep. Now you've got the brake is holding it in neutral.
Yes.
Yep. So what
So
we'll
if I
do,
take the brake off,
yep,
it'll start
start
to
to
go
roll forward. Oh, yep, and back you go again. Right. So what we're going to do, folks, I'll jump in.
Neutral is halfway.
Yep.
Right. That's it.
So we're in first gear. You pushed it in.
Yeah.
We're moving along. Yep.
Weird, isn't it?
Hey?
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll say. Perfect. And just turn it off. So there you go, folks. I didn't realise how simple it was. You just put your foot halfway onto the well,
Clutch
what would be
pedal,
the clutch,
as they would
and
call
when
it.
you want to go, you push your foot sort of right down, and off you go. And when you think going fast enough, you just take your foot off, and you're in second gear. And how fast does this go? And,
45 mile an hour, but normally we'll travel at about 40.
So you brought this from Invercargill up to Picton.
Yeah,
How long would that have taken you?
took 7 days.
Oh, so you've planned it, so you've gone from Invercargill to the sort of Gore
Yes.
to Balclutha, Dunedin.
Yes, Balclutha to Twizel
Yeah.
and up to Tekapo, across to Timaru, and then from there on.
Up the coast.
Yes.
Wow. Now, would you have got tooted at? Is everybody? Oh,
Oh yes,
g'day."
people loved it. Yeah.
What about the truckies behind you?
Truckies couldn't have been better for drivers. They
Really?
were most courteous.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I guess there's some bloke in a modern car that's late for an appointment, and he would have given you a hard time.
I straddled the left-hand white line all the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they just.
Yeah, some of them would. Yeah. Young fellas who would drive alongside me, taking photos and say, "Good on you, mate. Go for it." Yeah. So it seems to attract everybody.
Wow. Yeah. Well, how old is this?
1912.
1912. So it's 100
11. 112 now.
Yeah. Paul Gleason, who lives in Paiatua, he's got a Daimler truck that's was born in 1912,
Oh yes.
and that's another amazing
Yeah.
piece of equipment to drive.
Mhm.
You've got to pull this, turn that, blah 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 to make it go. But what you got to remember, folks, this is when cars were being invented, 1912, everybody has got another idea on what to do to make a car. So, you know, the 13, the 14, 15, 16, there's always something brand new.
Something brand new.
To try, and some of it worked and some of it didn't.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just amazing. And what amazes me is there's no telephones, or hardly, no telegrams, no faxes, no mobiles, no Bluetooth, no any of that, no satellites. But the people in Europe are building cars. The people in Australia are building cars, the Americans are building cars, the English are building cars. Where does all that information come from? You know, how to get an idea about building a car. You're building, you think you're doing it, you're the only one doing it, but no, in all these other countries, people are doing the same thing. So there must have been somewhere, you know, the thought that's been planted in all these heads around the world, bang, here's how you make a car, get on with it.
And some people were very, very clever in those days.
Yes.
Yeah.
So has Henry Ford thought this out? Is this his idea, or is this his engineer's ideas?
I think he knew how to employ engineers.
Right. So,
Yeah.
So he's the man who's got it all
He's
in
the
his
man
hand.
that had it together, yes.
Yeah. And how many of these did he make?
Well, there were 16 million, I think, but 23 million motors were made.
Good God. Mind you, they were still building these in the late 1920s, I think.
Yes, 1926.
1926, the last one?
Yes.
Wow. And they started, what?
Then they started the Model A. They started in 1908.
1908 was the first one of these.
Yes.
So when these would have come to New Zealand, these would have been sort of around our roads. I think there was a parliamentary tour.
Yes.
That went from wherever they went.
From Auckland to the top.
To the top,
Yes.
up to Cape Reinga and back again.
Yes.
And I think they reenacted that not all that long ago.
Yes, this car did that.
Oh, really?
Yes,
But
I did that run.
The roads would have been horrible.
Oh, shocking roads. Shocking
If
roads.
any road at all.
Yeah.
I guess the best road would have been going up 90 Mile Beach.
Well, they did in some cases,
Yeah,
yes.
well, the
Yeah.
tyre. But they've got narrow little tyres, and I guess it's got low down torque, these things as
Very
well.
low down torque, yes.
Yeah. Well, here I am in the cafe, and it's just like going back to 1950. The chairs of the time, Formica I think it's all called, and the black and white floors. There's Elvis Presley over there, there's a jukebox over there, there's memorabilia behind me, that beautiful montage of cars behind me. There's even an old Dodgem. Remember the Dodgems that they used to show? Boom, boom, boom. Wonderful. And I'm having a big breakfast. It's bacon and eggs. And so if you come here with your group to have a look at the museum, you can sit down and have a wonderful meal before you even start. So look at that. Bacon and eggs, sausages, tomatoes, toast, mushrooms, the whole 9 yards. And a cup of tea to wash it all down. So there you go. When you come here, come and have a meal first and then enjoy yourself in the museum. Christmas isn't all that far away, and so if you're looking for a present for the truck driver or somebody interested in transport in your life, then my Talking Trucks book might be just the thing. So if you'd like a copy, just email me, billhohepper@extra.co.nz, and I'll take your details and I'll get a copy in the post to you. Now this book covers trucks basically heading back from about 1972 to the time they started making vehicles. So a good historical book, and tells you all about the New Zealand transport industry up until about 1972. So for a Christmas present, perfect. Email me, billhohepper@extra.co.nz. Okay, let's have a look at this mother-in-law seat, Graham. So putting the hood up, if it starts to rain, looks like you just pull over to the side and it's all done in 30 seconds.
So now the hood's up.
So here's our cameraman Linda's going to give this a shot. So if you So if you're the mother-in-law, the view is sort of looking through this plastic black window, and you can vaguely see the bride and the groom, and you don't get a cover,
No.
so you're out in the weather. Wow.
And you can open these bits if you want to tell them off.
Oh yeah, I suppose you can. Yeah.
You can open that up to talk, yes. Yeah. But you can,
To behave.
yes.
So how many of these would they have made?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. So
They
it's,
might-
it's
they-
not a novelty thing. They actually purposely made this.
Yes, they purposely made them, yeah.
Wow. Well, there you go, folks. The mother-in-law seat. Ta-da! Just off to the right-hand side here, we've got what's known as a Model T centred door, in that the door is in the middle. So, Graham, how many of these would they have made?
In 1917 to 22, they made them more for taxis eventually,
Yep.
but yes, quite a few were made. Not very many came to New Zealand. There's probably at the moment 6 in New Zealand.
Oh, okay. Well, so getting in that, I remember the one I got into in Rangiora was relatively easy, and I managed to get into the driver's seat. They had a wonderful back window, great big enormous back window,
Yes,
and the whole thing drives the same as what we've just done.
exactly the same, yes.
Wow. So I'm quite confident now if I got into a Model T, I could actually drive the thing.
Yes, you could, yes.
So there you go. But anyway, it's just interesting to see a centre door. This one looks in marvellous condition. Have you done it yourself?
No, I had a friend, Brian Gaylor, help me with it. I'm very grateful to him. The Model T people are excellent regarding helping each other right throughout the country.
Right, so how many Model Ts would be in New Zealand? I mean, I've seen quite a lot.
There'd be at least 500.
Good God.
Yeah.
500 of the however many million they made?
Yes, that's right.
Wow. So were these a part of Henry Ford's, what did he call it, where he made them all in the factory?
No, the Colonial Motor Company in New Zealand put them together in New Zealand. They came boxed.
Right, and I think the wheels were on the outside of the box.
Yes, yeah.
Because I remember going into my grandfather's shed in Turua, and there was a box in his shed that had 4 wheels like that on it,
Yes,
and that was, he'd never opened it.
yeah.
It was just the
Really?
box,
Yeah.
the box that the Model T came in, and it's probably still there, as far as I know. But anyway, interesting stuff. Well, Graham, thank you very, very much.
Thank you for coming in.
You've
Yeah.
educated me. I can now drive a Model T. I'm pretty certain I can.
Yes.
I can now start a Model T.
Yes.
And I can go off and enjoy a Model T. So you've enlightened me, and thank you very much for
It's a
that.
pleasure.
There you go. So there you go,
Thank you,
folks.
Bill.
The old Model Ts. Well, I've come into the museum now, and just looking around, there's all sorts of cars from the 50s and 60s, 30s. There's a couple of 20s in here even, and it's a magnificent collection. So there's lots and lots of stuff in this museum for you to look at. Lots and lots of stuff that's going to take you right back to the day. And if you're new, well, there's lots of stuff here about New Zealand history. So if you come here, you're coming to Railside Place, which is off Rifle Range Road in Hamilton. Certainly worth a look if you belong to a car club or some sort of a club and you want a place to go. This is the place to come, and you can start off with a meal in the cafe. Come and have a look, enjoy yourselves. I absolutely recommend it. Well, I'm at Fully Equipped, and Fully Equipped is where they make crown canopies. And in 1993 I did an ad, you might remember, where I took a canopy off a ute, put a little outboard motor on it, out and caught a fish or two, and then came back and kicked the door down like a landing ramp, and woohoo! And that just sort of, there's 2 guys on the beach watching me do it, and I sort of scratched my head, how am I going to get out to those birds? Ah, I know, the canopy. So that worked a real treat. Now we've done another ad they thought 30 years on it's time to do another one, and which I'll show you in just a minute. But first of all, this is where they make the canopies. It's a huge process they go through. It takes about a week, I think, for one canopy to sort of be completed from woe to go, and they make them of fiberglass. They polish this fiberglass, and it goes right through this whole factory and pops out the other end where they put in the windows, and then when it gets put on a ute, they do that here as well. They make sure everything's all waterproof, and then it's all finished, and the customer drives the ute away. And they've got a few utes stacked up around the back there waiting for their canopies. But one of the problems is the ones that are coming over, the utes that are coming over from overseas, they get held up, and of course production lines here get held up. So this is one of the reasons why there's so many canopies behind me, is just waiting for the utes to come off the boat so they can fit them. So that's pretty much that. But crown canopies, you can do all sorts of things with them, as you know. But keeping your gear dry is one of them. You can go camping in them, of course. You can just sort of chuck a mattress on the back of your ute and have a bit of a snooze while you're four-wheel driving and things like that around the country. Would you like to come and catch a pig with me tomorrow?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Excellent. Every now and then you come across something that's absolutely unique, absolutely nostalgic, absolutely from the 1950s, and everybody and his dog who comes from the 1950s or 60s would remember caravans like this. And I just love the way it's got this little piece on the top with the little windows in. It's got a window there, it's got two windows at the front with a bit of a V. And what I also like, it's got an aerial up the front like they used to have on the old Vauxhalls and Zephyrs, sort of bolted to the side. You stuck it up, and at the time you also had a little flag, a little pennant. Pyro, Thames, Auckland had all these little pennants up one of these little aerials. But 1951, this was made in Manurewa in Auckland. The Auckland Caravan Company built it, and so it's been professionally built. And since then it's been around a bit. It's had its time sitting in a paddock, and the people who have it now sort of brought it home and put it back the way it was. Absolutely stunning. It got a warrant just the other day for it to go on the road, and it's for sale, but more about that later. So what I'm going to do is we'll pop into this old caravan and have a look at yesteryear. Just looking inside this caravan, as you know, I do four-wheel drive treks, and there's little huts all over New Zealand that you can arrive at, stay in for a night or two, and then carry on. Well, this caravan is pretty much like one of those huts. We've got two single beds either side here, with a little passage up the middle, table for dinner, so you've got a chair for this side, you can sit on the end of the bed that side, and this folds up out of the way and on a little lock up there, it's out of the way at night time. Up in the ceiling there's there's four little windows, they both open, And in America, back in the olden days, the carriages were called lantern tops, and this is pretty much a lantern top layout, in that it sort of comes in a wee bit into the roof and makes it unique. There's a row of little drawers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In behind me here, we've got this little gas cooker, and down on the floor here, there's a fire extinguisher. And you don't see fire extinguishers around much that look like that these days, but if you turn it around, there's a real one there. But you know, the old 1930s, 40s fire extinguisher is there just for the period. I don't know if you remember these from your place in the 1950s, but there's a little drawer, sort of looks like that, and there was one for sugar, chock-a-block full of sugar, another one chock-a-block full of flour. You put your bread in there as well, so you had a sort of like 3 or 4 of these drawers that look like that, and it just shuts up behind you there. And behind me there's this period tap, and our house when I was a boy had taps like this, and but it's been ingeniously done in that there's this little button here. You push that button, the water runs. It just runs, so it's permanently on, but it does look the period. It looks absolutely from the 1950s, 40s and 50s. An old breadboard, I don't know if you remember breadboards like that. In the corner there's a little salt shaker, salt and pepper shaker, the Mr. Baker. Well, everybody sort of seemed to have a fireplace cover that had a little sailboat or a yacht or a scene of some sort beaten out of copper. So that's on the wall there as well. There's a thermostat and a row of cupboards up in the top corner there. And if you look up and right into the corner there, there's some old, so right up in the corner they've got the bed light. I think in Austin used to have side lights like that, and there's a little badge called Lucas on top of that, and there's one each side. You just push the little black button underneath and that turns it on and off. And right up the front they've got an old radio that I don't know if you remember those, but they used to crackle away as we listened to Life with Dexter and Portia Faces Life in the mornings. And next door to that there's an alarm clock, and I'm not quite sure why you need an alarm clock in a caravan, but it's there anyway. And right in the middle in the ceiling there's a stainless steel yacht. And I guess if you're going out to the beach or someplace like that, that's a great ornament to have. And if you just swing slightly left, you see the other motorised car side light, which is the reading light. And up to my right up here we've got this little arrangement here, and what that does is this is what you hang your tea towels on. It's made of brass, and so it's a tea towel holder. Just around the corner here you've got something to shave with, or do your hair, or comb your moustache, or whatever it is. You've got to make yourself look nice before you pop out that door. And it just folds itself away here. And just to my left as you come in the door there's this brass light switch which were vogue in the 1950s. So off, on. And the floor comes from the 1950s. It's tongue and groove matai. So as I said, beautiful. So there you go, isn't she beautiful? And as I said, it's for sale. There's the contact details. Give the guys a call and talk caravan.